I am Ann-Peggy Divine. Welcome to the Divine Design, the podcast where we unfold heaven on earth and reframe spirituality and theology for a new cosmic era. Your journey on human evolution and integration of your divine design starts here. Welcome, Elaine. I'm so glad you are here on the podcast, and we have just found out, okay, we will do it visually, what we normally do before we start recording. We will connect to each other, to the we field.
Nice, thank you.
Thank you. I love your energy. You are so soft and you're so sweet. All the time, every time I connect to your field, it's like, oh, I love you.
It's such a beautiful field to be together.
Yeah.
Oof, nice, powerful.
Yeah. And we haven't spoken. It's a year since last time we spoke on under 4 eyes.
Yes. Yes, yeah. When we were with Solera in Wales.
Yes. And working with emanating our divinity and embodying our divinity. Mm. And this podcast wants to highlight that. How can we live it? How can we walk as the divine being as we are?
Huge question.
Yeah. And it's a little bit over a year since last time we met. How has your year been with emanating the divinity in a practical way?
For me, it feels like I am becoming more visible in the world. And that's a lot of the work that we did a year ago about visibility. And I've been asking for visibility in the world. And in the practical sense, I've started writing articles for a magazine. I was asked to become a wellness contributor for a magazine, and I have license to write more or less what I want to write.
Wow.
So that feels really a good way to be out there in the world in a very practical way. Yeah. But at the side of that, it feels like my whole way of working with clients is becoming more refined, becoming bigger, much more working with light codes to really affect the other and to bring them into alignment. Yeah. And again, I'm learning so much. Each time I work with a client, it's like I learn more and I become bigger and they become bigger.
Well, so interesting. You said you work with light codes. Can you tell a little bit more about working with light codes?
For me, it's a very gentle, non-invasive, and very powerful way to affect change, to affect healing, to affect most things, because it's like it's in my meditation recently, I heard the words that light codes are little pieces of love. They're little pieces of the divine. And they're kind of like almost like a very refined plasma. Yeah. I mean, they're just exquisite. And up until recently, I kind of thought that it was always golden light symbols and light codes. And then suddenly these light codes that were just delicate silver, exquisite, came through. And then I realized that you could have different colors for different needs or... Yeah, but for me, in the essence, I think they are little pieces of love. of divine love.
Yeah. I have worked with light codes, but it comes to me as the light language.
Mm-hmm.
And when first time when the light language came through, it was like I didn't understand it. So what is this? So it was kind of, okay, can I use this? But then I felt that it healed me. So it was okay, I'm getting so much healing. But then I went into a deeper relationship with it. And then okay, this language is an experience language. It is a sensory language, because I tried to understand it from my old paradigm, kind of, what is this? Because the wording was like, I had no hierarchy structure and to try to understand it, but it has no hierarchy structure. So it is light language and there are no condemning. So what comes to me, sometimes it looks like Chinese, another time like, so it, everything comes to me, but when I go out of the words that come to me and the sound and everything and just sense and feel, oh wow, what information comes to that. So many light codes, kind of. Yeah, it is light codes. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a vibratory thing. Sometimes I also have sound that comes through, and when I hear, I have one very beautiful healer friend who does a lot of light language transmissions, and it all sounds so elegant. But when mine comes through, it doesn't sound so elegant, and but I just kind of go with it. I just let it go, and just because it's vibration, it's frequency, and it kind of goes with the codes, but often for me they're very visual. The codes are actually very visual, and they also kind of come out my hands, so when I'm working.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that when we worked together, because it also come through my hands, but I haven't thought about this as light codes, but yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So because I think we are in a time where we actually are making a new language, a new understanding of everything.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
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 So
And one thing that I would add to that is that working at that with these frequencies, whether it's language or codes or visual or not, it's a constant elevation of our own vibration, a constant expansion of our own vibration, as well as the giving to the other. But for us, it's a constant expansion.
yeah. And sometimes I feel that the expansion can be so big, and I can't, okay, it can't be any bigger than this. But it's kind of, I'm so much in awe. It's like, wow, wow. Yeah. But at the same time, when I say it can't be any bigger, because it's not that it has to be bigger and better, because it just is. The new thing is just, okay, this is better, it's bigger. No, it can be, it can be also frequency of experience pain, to understand another person. And that also is kind of a light language. So yeah, I think the new concept, what is important for me is to say that we think in hierarchy, that above or under, but there are nothing above or under. It just is. Everything is just is.
Yeah, yeah. Another way I would describe it for myself is spaciousness. There is so much spaciousness.
Yeah.
Whether the focus is on a particular issue in someone's energy field, or being in what is called the bigger field, but it's more, when I feel into it, it's more about spaciousness and open beingness.
Yeah. What you call spaciousness, I think that's the same as I call heaven on earth, because I said I live from heaven and earth. And when I hear you talking about this, for me, it's the same as spacious. So I think also we are in a time, how can we because a lot of people are talking about the same concept and the same thing, but we use different words.
Mm-hmm.
So how can we kind of find a common word or the common language to understand that a lot of what we are doing as humans are the same, just using different vocabulary and different languages?
Mm-hmm. For me, that would come through feelings and emotions, and using our whole body as a sensorium, as to really intuit through this magnificent body that we all have, that has so much to offer that we don't even know about yet.
Yeah. Yes. Shifting from the mental construct to the experience of divinity. Yeah.
I remember the many years ago, I used to do eyesight work, vision work. And when I actually touched into the vitreous humor in the eye, that liquid inside the eyeball, I immediately recognized it as Godness. And I mean, I was quite young then. I was maybe, I don't know, 20 years or so ago, or 25. And this was something really new for me. And I couldn't quite get anyone else that I was working with at the time to understand what I meant. But it was just like that part of our body was pure Godness for me.
Yeah.
And then as I, learned more and more about myself and life, and I mean, all of the parts of our body are pieces of Godness, really. There's a kind of honoring in that.
I love that you say that, because during all my life, people have said, you don't see me, you just see my eyes, because I see people in the eyes. So if someone said, oh, I'm fat, I'm ugly, they have labels on themselves. I see all as divine, as a gift. So I see them just in the eyes. And I remember one man that I worked with, he had lost a lot of kilos, very many kilos. And he said, don't you see any change? No, because I saw the same in him, even though he had lost weight. But he felt bad because I couldn't see that he had lost the weight. But I saw the same divine soul, even if he was so many kilos more or less. Because when you see through the eyes, it's kind of the God essence, as you said. You see them as their divine being. And this avatar, yeah, we have an avatar, but if it's like this or that, it doesn't kind of matter, because it's just the instrument we use to bring out our divinity.
Yeah, absolutely.
And another thing that I hadn't been so much into iris analysis. You know the iris in the eye.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any practices with the iris?
It's quite a long time since I've done that kind of energy work. But no, I don't personally kind of go there, because so many of my clients are online, so I'm not having them physically in front of me.
Yeah.
But when you have someone physically in front of you, that whole part of the being is so powerful to connect with.
Yeah.
It almost feels for me like there's a direct connection between the eyes and the heart. And I know people say eyes are the windows of the soul, but for me, it's the heart connection from that place.
Yeah. But I think it was so fascinating, because I have studied some of the kinesiology, and one of the aspects is reading the iris. And if you watch the iris, you can see all the patterns in a human from the iris. So if you have dark spot, it's like, okay, it can be cancer, it's an unbalance. And when I got my first iris analyzed on my eyes, he didn't know anything about me, but just by observing my iris, he could tell all my system. And I was, what? So I was amazed that just by studying the iris and the constitution, because we have different constitution, do our body communicate well? Because the constitution in us is a system, do all the parts of us communicate perfectly?
Yeah.
And when if we bring this body aspect into the divine kind of perspective, does all the divine parts kind of talk to each other? And then I think we have to listen. Do we listen to all the divine parts so that all this system that we are together are communicating well? Yeah, as you said, like the light codes, are the light codes the divinity of us? It's the light code. Are they communicating? Do we understand it?
Yeah, fascinating. Because our whole body is a roadmap, whether it's hands or feet or irises or the whole meridian system in the body. And as you say, when you take that out, you in a way expand it into other dimensions, as opposed to, say, making it bigger, but taking it to other dimensions. Does that lead to the vibration of light codes? And then where does that lead to? And fascinating.
Yeah.
What is beyond the whole communication network of light codes?
Yeah. There will never be an end to our question.
No.
So God, as I see God, we are creating God through us. So God is expanding because we are expanding. God essence, it's kind of expanding. Yeah, and it's such a gift being here.
I was just experiencing how nourishing it is in my body to have this kind of conversation. It's not one we have every day.
That's true. But hopefully in some years it will be. What I have seen the last years is that I have merged different lives in the past and the future. And when I lived in Guatemala in 1600, I was a shaman and a priest, this tribe leader. And I did the same as I do today, but with a masculine energy. And it's a big difference between a masculine energy and a feminine energy. So I'm doing the same, much the same. I evolving to that. And I have take all the knowledge from that life to this life. How can I do it the same way? Because I'm not a tribe leader now, but I'm going into that, because me and you, all of us who are already embodying the divine, we become the role model for the new human.
Yeah.
And we can learn from past and future. So I feel that we are merging time now.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I also feel that for myself, that I often come from another dimensional place to support that coming together. So it's almost like the starting point is from another dimensional place. And then within that, I can affect those other, perhaps different experiences of our soul and bring together all of those pieces of our soul. But it's like the director of that is from a different, completely different dimensional place. I don't know if that felt clear.
Yeah. Because you are talking about what is kind of behind God.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah. Or even behind me, or behind my concept of me as a body, or other lifetimes I've experienced or other soul experiences I have. It's like this bigger overseer, if you like, which could be called God, or it could be something beyond God, or consciousness. It could even be a consciousness.
Yeah, because someone see God as the God of the all of this galaxy, and that we know that there are trillions of galaxies. And what's behind that again? So it's no end, it's infinite.
And trying to understand it with our mind here in this reality is just mind-blowing.
Yeah. And I think also it is important to remember that we are here to experience our divinity. So we have to ground ourselves at the same time as we bring in all the light codes and all the dimension of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think someone said to me recently, and I really resonated with it, or I read it or heard it somewhere, that in the other dimensions, our bigger self, we're not used to having a body, so we don't actually know what's good for it, what's not good for it necessarily. You know, our bigger soul might have ideas, but they might not be very practical in this body, in this lifetime. Yeah.
I had it's just a half year ago, when I go into the divine design, I can kind of experience whatever I want to experience. And then I was in this experience and I said, okay, what dimension is this? Because I just opened to whatever unfold. And then it was kind of, okay, where you are now, you don't have any body. You are in the realm where you don't have any body. So you can create whatever you want. And it was like, as you say, the dimension beyond body and the physicality. It's like, wow, I have no body. I can do whatever I want. And it was everything that I wanted, kind of just doing that. And it happened. It was no time. And it was it's like, oh, so this is where we go when we are out of this body. But I think we can go many places. But this was also because I have been beyond time several times. But this was kind of, it was so peaceful, you knew everything. So it's like, okay, yeah, we can go to this dimension and several dimensions. And in this ceremony, I had a ceremony, I think I was in 7, 8, or 9 dimension. And I said, because then I did my thing and I went out of one dimension and into another. So that was one of the dimension I was in. So the capability we have, it's amazing. It's like, I amaze myself. Yeah. Do you have a practice of doing ceremony, or are you just closing your eyes and then you're there?
I guess I just kind of close my eyes and
Yeah, normally every day I do it, but sometimes it feels right for me to do a ceremony for some hours. It's like really bringing in and making sacred space, having candle and flowers and water, bringing all the elements. It's like honoring the divineness in me. So even though I also, well, as we lined up, is kind of, we feel each other. Sometimes I just honoring it and see what comes through today. Can you, and I said, I also try, sometimes I have a script, I want something, but then I learned that I didn't all the time get the answer, because what I asked for was in the program script, and I got answer that was way beyond the program script. So I just learned that, okay, just give up and say, okay, what will divinity bring in now?
Yeah, absolutely. I find for myself that if I am not going to those other dimensional places, whether that's my way of doing it often is working with clients and yes, for myself, if I want to check out some things for myself. But if I don't do that for any length of time, like a week or 2 weeks, I start to feel uncomfortable in my body.
Yeah.
It just feels like, I don't quite feel like me.
Yeah.
Yeah. If there's a gap for whatever reason.
Yeah, and when I wrote the Health Bible, I wrote a lot about habitat disease. And I wrote about habitat disease because when we are living on Earth, we kind of become our habitat. As you say, if we are not aware about our divinity and bring that through, it is so easy to take, because what I did when I was young, I took all the diseases, I just absorbed it because I was empathic, and so I became my habitat, and my habitat was so imbalanced. So I was sick, 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 sick. And I wasn't a Christian, and I wasn't a spiritual person the first, when I was adult, in my young adult life. So when I started to wake the divinity in me, that's when I started to become healthy, and because I was unbalanced all the way until 2013, because I didn't integrate the divinity and the light, because I was my habitat.
Mm-hmm.
As you say, if you are 2 weeks and you haven't kind of used time and relationship with the divine, it's so easy to become unbalanced and sick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There are a couple of things that come up for me as you're talking, Ann-Peggy. All of my life in this, some sort of programming, I have always said to myself, I have a really strong immune system. I've always believed I have a really strong immune system, and I very, very rarely get sick. And so that's always fascinated me, the fact that I knew that on some level. Also recently, I had a bioresonance session with a therapist, and she told me that it was almost like my system was on two levels. There was a physical level that probably was so exhausted couldn't get out of bed, which is not me. And then there was the overlay of me, because of my work and my expansion into the divine, that created this really healthy body with all healthy organs and everything working pretty much okay.
Yeah.
And I was so fascinated, because this is what we tell people, that when we do this work, we can become more of who we are. We can become healthier, and yes, that's what I tell my clients. But to have someone tell me that was so fascinating, that it was almost like, oh, that's really true.
Yeah.
That really happens.
Yeah.
Just find it really fascinating.
Yeah, and a lot of people, or some, just know from they are a child, and we also choose life, because I saw that I choose this life to experience a lot of health issue, because I couldn't write the Health Bible if I haven't had all this issue and all the imbalance and see the bigger picture.
Absolutely.
So I'm glad that, even though until I was 5 years, I was in contact with my divine spark, but then when I was 5, I shut it down. I chose habitat that have a lot of fear, a lot of darkness. So when I was 5, I had to shut down my heart, because it was so painful. So I have to go into my cocoon, kind of just doing what the society wanted me. So I went into this hamster wheel, as we do, the programming. So I did my programming from I was 5 till I was 40. And when I was 40, it was kind of chunk, and something happened, and my heart started, and it went into this imbalance for 2 months. And this was kind of the wake-up call, and the doctor said that I would die. So I prepared to die, and I did die, but it was the ego, the programming, that died.
Mm-hmm.
So that the divinity in me could come true again.
Mm-hmm.
The one when I was 5 years, I kind of closed it down. Then I had to go back, open. And now I really embody it.
Mhm.
So I'm glad I had that, because now I can help other people, because we dim our light, because we go so into our programming. And even though I'm worked as a therapist, a social worker, and had a lot of therapist education, I had to embody my divinity. Even though I had a lot of tools and a lot of thinking pattern, it was really embodying the divinity that really get me in balance.
Mhm.
Yeah. So no one knows, as you say, but I knew until I was 5, but I had to give it up because my habitat didn't allow me to shine my light.
Mhm. Yeah.
So we need to help people. So the program I'm starting now in a month is like Divinity Reset. It is actually what we are saying. It's a reset. It's kind of, how do we get all the patterns that are in the way of our light, just to let go of them, so that we can shine the light, the divinity that we are.
Yeah. Yeah. And everyone experiences that so differently. I think with some people it happens in an instant,
Yeah.
which is that kind of happened for me in that moment.
Yeah.
And other people need to, I think in that moment when it's really a big awakening, then the ego structure and the programming starts to shake and break up. And some people need to approach it from the place of gently opening up the programming in the ego system, and slowly wakening up.
Yeah.
I mean, because we're all different, we all do it differently, and we come in with the intention to do it differently. And I think that's the beauty of our work, to really support people going through the awakening process, or whatever name you want to give to that.
Yeah.
This is our job here. This is what we've come for.
Yeah, and to watch it, it's so beautiful. I have followed people, as you say, it's in a second. It's from one state of mind, state of being, like just the emanating coming through. It's like, wow. And it's so fascinating. And then they maybe come back half year later, or maybe several years later, and then they have experiencing life, and they have more. So it's like, it's an ongoing process. So they have it, and then they go back to their life, their habitat, and they come back, and then we have to do it again. So yeah, it's a continually process, and reminding. And I think it's important, as you say, having a practice. You say, if it's go more than 2 weeks, I need it.
Yep.
Yeah, and I feel the same. If I have too much to do here and not reminding myself to take care and everything, then yeah, I know that if I'm not good for myself, kind of, if I don't take care of this body, I cannot be there for you and the other one. So the perspective of, yeah, we have to take care of our body also. Balance in everything.
Absolutely.
It is so simple, at the same time so hard.
And we live in the world. We live in a world. Well, we live in the world, and we have families, and we have friends, and things to do, and jobs, and mortgages to pay, and all kinds of things that can take our attention, distract us. But more and more people, I think, are more and more committed to change.
Yeah.
That's how it feels for me.
Yeah, for me too. Yeah. But you said that you like to go beyond dimension and what's behind. Can you share some example or epiphany or experiences that are past what we normally consider normal?
Gosh.
I think it helpful to listen to other people, because it kind of expand our minds, because we have a tendency to lock ourselves into concepts. So when we hear other that, okay, that's possible, that's possible.
Yeah. It's definitely, it's a couple of things come to mind. I, for my own awakening many, many years ago, that for me happened in an instant, that you kind of being hit by a bolt of light, and like everything opened up. And that from that place, I was able to feel that this is how we as humans were meant to be, but we're not ready. This was 40 years ago. We were nowhere near ready.
Yeah.
So that was my work since then, has really about learning how to be with that, how to lean into that and become that, embody it. So, but more recently, I think doing the work that we do, I have much more of a felt sense of those multi-layers of me. And when I'm working with clients, I had one recently, things that I guess kind of going beyond what is known for me as a person. I found myself with one client in a kind of operating theatre, and all of these divine beings, goddesses, were surrounding my client. And she had experienced as a child a great deal of abuse, sexual abuse. And the ceremony and the ritual and the actual operation was to extract all of that energy, that DNA, that sexual energy from her system, to allow her to be more whole. And I was kind of watching this going, okay, I could not have imagined this. I couldn't even have thought it up in my mind that this might happen. So it's like we're constantly faced with things that we just can't imagine. There's so much there that we cannot imagine that is possible. Because I truly believe that that changed something for her.
Yeah.
In this physical level.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
this is the divine at work.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you talk about higher dimension. When I have worked with people, I have worked with so many past life, and I have seen that how all our life are interconnected. So what one of the client was in Russia, being a very a military man, authority, and he was violent, and he raped people, he killed people, he was really a bad man, to put it like that. And how this life have affected other lives, and this life, this person have kind of surrender and are there for a lot of people. It's kind of she's a she in this life, kind of wanting to balance it out, not as a punishment, because it's not punishment, but you feel the responsibility when you are in the divinity. It's like, okay, I have been that, I take responsibility, I want to. So she feel that it's right to be there for everyone. At the same time, she takes care of herself. But I see that because she is in contact with a lot of people, and all the life is kind of merging. It's like she balanced out. And she have also in past life experienced abuse, different kind of abuse. And yeah, I have learned so much, as you say, through the client that has come to me, and I have guided them past life. Not so many have been in future life, actually. Most of them is past life, but some in future life, yeah. But learning all the dimension on earth, I think it is fascinating, really, and how we are shaped from our in the womb of our mother, and how we become as adult, and we replay this kind of patterning. And yeah, and also bring it through us from time to time to time. And also my own life, because I have met soul in this life. And when I met one of the soul that is not in my family, because often our family is soul that we have incarnated in past life or also present life. But I met a soul that I had never met before. It was totally strange for me. And it's like, I know you. And also my daughter, we were into a gathering, and he was 5 years when he met my daughter, and I think she was 8, 9, and she said, I know you, I really know you, because he connected on this essence level. It's like, yeah, we know each other on this level. Yeah.
Fascinating.
It is fascinating. Yeah. And then we are talking really about the oneness.
Yes. Yeah. It's so beautiful when we have that connection with someone.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's really fascinating to be incarnated in form in this period of time. Really, it is a big gift.
Yeah, indeed. Huge. It feels for me that we are really being called now to put our work out into the world, even if up until now we've been a little bit incognito.
Yeah,
it's now time.
Yeah, it's no time.
Is ready. We're educating the new children coming in, the new beings coming in, who are so ready for change.
Yeah. Have you heard about the spirit and also the man? He was called Michael, but he go by the name Wolf.
No.
I think it's 10 years since he died, and he was in both dimensions. So he now knew his spiritual essence, and he knew that he would be struck by a lightning. His period, I think he became 29 years. But he was kind of diagnosed because they didn't understand him. He knew he was in contact with the other side, and all of them, he was so nice to everyone, and he said, oh, he's a nice boy, but he's special, he's kind of special. And he was bullied and had a hard time. And when he was struck by lightning, he knew that he would die this day, and he made a lot of letters and he made a lot of notes. And after that, his father and stepmother found out, and then he communicated from the other side, and now they have made a book of it. And Susan, what is her name? Susan, yeah, one of this spiritual guide that is very known on a public person. Susan, I don't know. Suzanne Gieselman. She has channeled a wolf. And when I work with the book, Wolf came through me and explained something about suicide and the other side, and he told me something. So yeah, we can connect to all the aspects. But he was seen as a strange man, strange young boy, because he actually emanated the divinity. So when we bring out this, because I know that there are a lot of young people feeling strange. They feel that they don't feel home here because it's so strict, it's so closed mind. So we need to bring this story out that, okay, you are divinity. Your essence is divinity, even though you feel that, oh, I don't feel home here because I haven't felt home. Now I have started. Now I feel home, but I need that to come to my divine essence, because when you are home in your divine essence, you can be wherever you are. I said, there are no time space. You are home wherever you are.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, really fascinating time.
Absolutely fascinating.
Yeah. And all us who have met, I think we are 40, 50 that I have met in Glastonbury, and the event we were, and also we are meeting every week if we want. But just to have, because the way we are talking now, we are doing the same in this group and things beyond. So yeah, and since we are in this group, it is easier for us to emanate it out in society. If I sat here alone with all this and you were alone, it would be harder.
Oh, definitely communities so needed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And communities, as you're talking about those, we're affecting change from a very high level.
Yeah.
Which has practical, practical knock-on effects for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's very beautiful work to do that from that spaciousness.
Yeah. Heaven on earth, spaciousness. Maybe I should start using this word spaciousness. Yeah. It's it's space. Yeah. I use the word cosmic. And cosmic and spaciousness. Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of go together.
Yeah. So I don't know if you know, but then one of the project I'm into, it's the Cosmic Bible, Emanate Your Divinity.
I didn't know. I'd love to hear about it.
You are in it. Because I get guided that the intention behind Divine Design podcast, all the people I talk to will bring something into the divine or the Cosmic Bible. So I know that I will attract all the people that holds some essence and some construct of the new. So you are already in the Cosmic Bible, emanate your divinity.
Energy's in there.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, that's really nice. I like it.
So yeah, we're
very happy to be part of the Cosmic Bible.
Yeah, and I'm so glad to have you. Are there any last words, or are we kind of heavy?
I'm really happy you invited me to do this. Thank you, Ann-Peggy.
And I'm so glad that you said yes, because I think saying yes, this is the time to say yes.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lovely to be with you, beautiful energy.
And ditto to you. You're beautiful. It was like, oh, yeah, I love this energy. I remember. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Divine Design podcast with Ann-Peggy Divine. You can follow divinedesign.it on Instagram, Facebook, X, and TikTok. Join us next Sunday for another Heaven on Earth unfolding conversation. With grace, reverence, and unity, may the path of your divine design light the way. From the divine in us to the divine in you.